Hello there guys, and welcome back to Blues Fans TV for another Premier League match preview as Chelsea are to take on West Ham away from home tomorrow night on Wednesday evening. And of course that is the fourth game since the break, 3 games so far obviously, and 3 wins. What more can we really ask for? What I can ask for is for you guys to please subscribe, because we're actually less than 400 subscribers away from 100,000 subscribers. And obviously, as mentioned in the last few previews and live streams, of course, and it would mean so much to us to hit that milestone. So if you're new here, please make sure to subscribe. And if you're not new here, and if you are subscribed already, you know, there's still stuff you can do. Share it on your Twitter or Instagram or whatever. Tell your mum, tell your nan, tell your friends. Tell everyone you know to subscribe, because honestly, it would mean the world to us to hit that milestone. Honestly, we'd massively appreciate it. And of course, also drop a like on this video if you are excited for the game. And also, you know, if you do enjoy our content. But yeah, enough waffling. Let's just get into the video. And like I said, you know, 3 wins already. But now we are facing a team that, even though their position in the table suggests that we should win that game quite comfortably, West Ham somehow always seem to have their 2 best performances of the season in the 2 games against us. So it will be difficult, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see what team Frank Lampard will actually go with tomorrow night. But before that, quickly some injury news that Lampard shared in his press conference earlier. And he said, of course, on Christian Pulisic, who did come off with a, you know, bit of a problem, let's say, against Leicester. He felt a bit of a tightness in his calf. Lampard reiterated that again, and he did say that it has gotten better since then, but it's still a situation that is being managed. Same as Andreas Christensen, who missed the cup game on Sunday with a bit of a hip problem, and both of them will basically be a late decision whether they will be involved in the game against West Ham or not. So at this moment in time, we just don't know. But there were, interestingly enough, no words on Callum Hudson-Odoi. Let's see whether he'll be in the squad for the first time tomorrow or not. I don't know. So far, it's only been said that he's lacking match fitness. But, you know, it's been like 3 games since then, and he hasn't even made the bench. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not expecting him to start straight away, but for him to be on the bench and be fit enough to play like 10, 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes coming from the bench, I'm expecting him to be able to do that at some point. Do you know what I mean? But with that being said, let's get into the team that I personally would pick. And of course, for me, it's always going to be Kepa in goal. Caballero did all right. 1 mistake, but didn't lead to a goal against Leicester, but I think Kepa has to be back in goal. Then coming to the 2 centre-backs, I'm pretty certain that Antonio Rudiger will stay in the team regardless. But obviously, we don't know if Christensen will be fit or not. So I'm going to go with Zuma next to Rudiger, because, you know, he was very good against Leicester, Zuma was. And I'd rather be safe than sorry with Andreas Christensen, while I believe that Tomori is still out, even though, again, that wasn't mentioned in the press conference. Although I do think, you know, he should be close to being back at some point, because before the first game, Lampard said he would be out for about 10 days or so. And that is about where we are now. So he should be back fairly soon. But yeah, if Christensen, even if he's fit, to be honest, just don't risk it. As good as he was against Man City, Zuma was also good against Leicester. So that should do fine. At fullback, now Reece James sadly didn't help himself again with another... Okay, it wasn't awful against Leicester by any means, but not exactly a great performance. And when Azpilicueta replaced him at half-time, Azpi was much better, you know, defensively. Was well, not just defensively, was better in all areas of the pitch, both going forward and defensively, and just brought a bit more calmness to that side of the pitch. Could also be down to Leicester's performance in the second half, fair enough, but Azpi certainly helped us. So I'm pretty sure that Azpi will play it right back, and I also will do so myself. On the left side, well, Emerson was decent against Leicester, so was Alonso against City. Okay, arguably Alonso was more than decent against City. So I don't really know. I'm pretty sure it will be Alonso in Lampard's team. I will get to that in a minute. But personally, I wouldn't mind going for Emerson. I thought it was pretty decent. Of course, he wasn't tested much against Leicester. But, you know, he was all right. You know, he was all right on the ball, was all right defensively. So why not? You know, why not, personally? So I'm just going to put him there, but I don't really mind whether it's him or Alonso. Don't think either of them are particularly great. But then coming to the midfield, I would personally still like to see Jorginho play at the base of a midfield 3. I very much doubt that Lampard is going to do that at this point, but I would still love to see it. He also actually mentioned N'Golo Kante playing in a new role. Of course, Lampard did that in his press conference. He mentioned Kante playing in a new role and said Kante has done really well, but it's also important that he doesn't just sit in front of the back 4, because his energy and pressing and being aggressive is very important and helpful to us, and also, you know, is one of his biggest strengths. So him not doing that will kind of be wasting him a little bit. But me personally, I would actually give Kante a rest. You know, it doesn't really matter where I would play him, whether I would play him as a DM instead of Jorginho or to the right or whatever, like he did last season and, you know, earlier this season. I would just give him a rest, because like I mentioned before, I just don't want him to be injured again. You know, he's missed so much of the season with injury, played all of the 3 games already so far. So I just would prefer to be cautious. Let's see what I think Lampard will do that as well. But that's just me. So with that said, I would start Mateo Kovacic to Jorginho's left, and then Ruben Loftus-Cheek in midfield, not on a wing, but to their right. You know, finally Ruben not on the wing, but in midfield and to their right. Why? You will see in a minute. Because coming to the wingers, even if Christian Pulisic is fine, I don't think he'll start. You know, if he's fit, I don't think he'll start, and if anything, he'll come off the bench in the second half. So I would actually move Willian over to the left side rather than the right side where I started the last 3 games. Although he's done really well on the right, to be fair, or maybe not really well, but he's done well on the right so far. So maybe that actually wouldn't be the best idea to move him over to the left. But, you know, because we don't know if Hudson-Odoi will be fit, I would start Mason Mount, you know, and I prefer Mount on the wing to Ruben Loftus-Cheek on the wing. And I think Mount is better on the right side than he is on the left side. And I don't really want to start Pedro, to be honest. So, you know, that's why Mason Mount on the right wing, Willian on the left wing. And then coming to the striker, well, I personally would stick with Tammy Abraham. I think he's done well when coming on against City and was also decent against Leicester. So I would stick with him. He's the younger of him and Giroud, but who, of course, isn't in the picture at the moment. But yeah, that's the team I would personally pick. But let's get into the team that I'm predicting Frank Lampard to go with, which is actually rather different. Still Kepa, Rudiger, Zuma and Azpilicueta at right back. But I'm pretty sure Alonso will start at left back rather than in my team, Emerson. And I also believe that N'Golo Kante will stay in his new DM role at the base of what's a midfield 3, but likes to change into a 4-2-3-1 as well at times, which is kind of what Lampard most of the time goes for. It's kind of that mix where some people argue, oh, it's a 4-2-3-1. The other people argue, oh, it's a 4-3-3. For me, it's a mix, but for the most part, especially against Leicester, it was a bit more of a 4-3-3. So yeah, Kante at the DM, and then surely the boss has to start Kovacic rather than leaving him out for a 3rd game in a row. I just can't see that happening. So I reckon Kovacic to Kante's right and then Mason Mount to his left, because I'm actually expecting Lampard to start Loftus-Cheek on the wing again now that Christian Pulisic isn't at 100%. Even though I think it's a massive waste of Ruben's talent and it really hasn't worked out particularly well either against Villa or when he came on against Leicester on Sunday, you know, with injuries, I think that's what Lampard will do, while having Barkley on the bench to kind of come on as an impact sub in the second half, which has also worked pretty well so far, both against Villa and against Leicester. I mean, he might start Pedro. You never know. But personally, I doubt it. And like I said about Hudson-Odoi a couple of times already, even if he is back in the squad, which even that I don't know about, he definitely won't start straight away. So, you know, he's not necessarily an option to start. So Ruben on the left wing, like I said, Willian then back again on the right. Poor guy, starting the 4th game in a row. And then up front, I'm unsure who Lampard's going to pick, to be honest. I am unsure. I just don't know. I think it's anyone's guess, really. But I reckon Olivier Giroud has a slightly higher chance. Tammy hasn't scored yet. Giroud has. Giroud was decent against City, but nothing special. Tammy, I thought, was the better against City, personally. And did okay against Leicester. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I put Giroud on the team here now, but we'll just have to wait and see. As for the game itself, well, let's first of all hope that West Ham don't have their best performance against us again, because that's just what they seem to do all the bloody time. Let's also hope we don't have a massive muck-up like we did at Villa, and let's try to be more clinical, because we should have scored more goals in all of the 3 games so far. Weirdly enough, I actually think we kind of had the most big chances against City, I would say, which is a bit weird. I guess they defend less, but still. You wouldn't think so when playing Villa, Leicester and Man City that you'd have the most big chances against City, but I thought we actually did. But overall, I mean, it's the same as ever, really, especially when we're the strong favourite and we'll have the majority of the possession. We just need to be aggressive. We need to move a lot, especially in the final third, keep the passing fast and crisp. And for N'Golo Kante, because I expect him to start, like I said, even though I personally wouldn't and I would give him a rest, I just hope he starts moving around a little bit more to offer more angles for the centre-backs to just find him more comfortably when we're trying to play out from the back. I think that's an important part that Kante needs to improve on when playing in this new role, because I think, you know, it's really, really important to help us play out from the back. And also, if Kovacic does start next to him, I need him to drop back at some point and, you know, at times to just help Kante out a little bit more, because I think Kante on his own sometimes, is depending on how much the opponent press us, you know, struggles a little bit with that situation, especially to just make himself available. And if Kovacic also makes himself available, that makes it easier for Kante to be available to pass to. So, you know, that makes everything a little bit easier as well. And of course, always the most important thing at Chelsea anyway, be bloody clinical. Take the chances we will create, because we create plenty of them. Maybe not so much against Leicester on the weekend, except by a couple on the break in the second half. But not so much in that game. But all the other games, we create plenty of chances, but we just don't quite take them. Even though in the last 4 Premier League games, we've always scored 2 or more goals, which is good. You know, essentially, we still want to score a few more. That's what we want. We still want to score a few more, so let's be a little bit more clinical and make the game just a little bit easier, make it an easier night for ourselves. Coming to West Ham, though, just to quickly touch on them as well, they aren't exactly in great form. Although, to be honest, they also play two good teams since the break in Wolves and Tottenham, losing 2-0 to both of them. But in the table, they're just 17th. Just about not in the relegation zone, but only on goal difference because they're equal on points with both Bournemouth and Aston Villa right behind them. So, really in a tricky situation and certainly under threat of getting relegated. Under David Moyes, they almost always line up in a 4-2-3-1 formation that very easily shifts into a 4-4-1-1 or even a 4-5-1 when defending very deep. And even though they aren't particularly good at either defending nor attacking, when we played them at Stamford Bridge in November, they actually beat us 1-0. So, that is kind of, another example of one of those games where West Ham just play much better than they really should, and they always do. But it was also a game where we had many, many big chances, but just didn't take them, hence why we lost all 3 points, which of course was very, very disappointing at the time. And they also have some good players. Fornals is a good player, Felipe Anderson, Jared Bowen, but also Declan Rice, who we are reportedly interested in actually, but as a centre-back rather than a midfielder, which I would be much more in favour of, having him as a centre-back than a CDM. Lampard played down any links to him in his press conference, but it still didn't sound like a complete rule out of, no, who's that? Like, we're not interested. Of course, Declan Rice came from Chelsea's academy before he was released at some point in his younger days. I don't know. I've mentioned it in my live stream review of the Leicester game as well. At centre-back, I'd be okay with that, depending on how cheap it would be, only if he was cheap. If he was expensive, no. But I still personally prefer Ethan Ampadu. I think Ethan Ampadu is better at pretty much everything, except that he's a bit shorter. But yeah, enough about that. In general, I'm probably expecting a fairly similar game to the one against Aston Villa that we had, obviously, as the first game back. But ideally, we find a breakthrough much sooner in the game, and also that we don't, concede a stupid goal again. Essentially, that's what it was. The goal we conceded against Villa was a stupid goal. So let's hope we don't concede another stupid goal. That'd be bloody brilliant. Hence why my score prediction is going to be a 3-1 win, actually conceding a stupid goal. Because I just don't see us not doing so. Even though we kept a clean sheet against Leicester, I hope this time at least it won't be like going 1-0 down and then having to fight back. I hope we'll just go 2-0 up, then concede a stupid goal, and then West Ham open up a bit when they try to get the equaliser, and then we'll make it 3 on the break, and then it will done and dusted and get the 3 points. And, just getting ever closer to finishing in the top 4 and securing Champions League football for next season. But to be honest, guys, that has really been it from me. Like I said in the beginning already, please make sure to subscribe to Blues Fans TV, because honestly, it would mean so much to us to hit that milestone of 100,000 subscribers. We're only like 400, 350 or whatever subscribers away, so make sure you subscribe. It would mean the world to us. Drop a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Drop a like on this video if you're excited for the game tomorrow, and leave me your thoughts ahead of the game in the comment section below. How would you replace Christian Pulisic, assuming that he won't start the game? And just what are your predicted 11s and what are your score predictions? All of it, please, down in the comment section below. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up to Chelsea. Very excited for the game tomorrow, and I'll see you when I see you.